you don't need a visa. All you need is a clean hand and a pure heart. Forget all your vanities. Drop your emotional baggage. With those things, you will have to part. Yeah! When you see the chariot rolling, it's rolling, we'll be on that ride. When you see the chariot rolling, it's rolling, we'll be on that ride. We're not here to stand for equal rights and justice, 'cause our forefathers already stood, yeah. We are here to see equal rights and justice. Babylon, they are up to no good. When you see the chariot rolling, it's rolling, Jah be on that ride. When you see the chariot rolling, it's rolling, we'll be on that ride. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I say all of my enemies gon' eat them condemnation. Yeah, yeah. You love reggae music? Never seen you rock so. Now it's time to play. You move me like the wind blows. As night becomes a day, I know you want to go slow, to where talk about when you hear the bass line roll like this. And oftentimes when you hear this, the ladies are moving the waistline like that. Yeah. The men are usually hearing the drums beat like this. Yeah, I talk about hearing the guitar wheel like this. A lot of people like to talk. That's what they do every day. And you know what? People talk. That's what they do. They don't understand. Home is still a push and go through. Yes, they laugh. You know what they do? They call me names, but they just don't get it. Oh, them see me, I hold my head up just the same. When them see me, they just keep on talking. I mean, I see them, I just keep on walking. I got my pride. Me nah go show my bad side. Some of them see me as a big pushover. Want me fi dead, I want me fi kill over. Oh no, not I. I and I will survive. Never let them get you down. Never let them see you. Never let them lead you astray. Starting today, live your life your way. Never let them get you down. Never let them see you. Lead you astray. Starting today, live your life your way. When you go through heartache, when you're feeling pain, when you end up in a desert and I wonder why the hell it not rain. When them pass them judgment and every word left a stain. When them talk up the things them try to mash up your life and give you bad name. Them think you're weak but I say them look bad mind and think them left your business that's wonder. Don't give them that power. Show them you can be stronger. Just take up this and make the whole of them wonder. Oh, you get up when them a try keep you under. Don't believe their lies. Show them that you are right. Never let them get you down. Never let them see you. Never let them take away your liberty. Live your life and be free. Never let them get you down. Never let them see you. Never let them lead you astray. Starting today, live your life your way. I say, that's what they do. But when they do, just keep on moving. Keep on being you. Be happy. Huh. Never let them lead you astray. Starting today. Yeah. You still feel good? Say yeah. Now this next song is a tribute to the great Gregory Isaac. If you don't know him, he's like a huge reggae icon that's loved all over the world and do the rock that I taught you earlier. Let's go. Ooh, baby, yeah. Ooh, baby. They say I'm too young, too young, too young to be a lover. Oh no. Never judge a book. Don't know. song. Thank you. It's from the fourth album, upcoming album. It's to be released tomorrow on the 28th. It's called Love Song. It's about unconditional love, meaning loving that person regardless of things they do, say, look like, eat, whatever. Just loving them unconditionally. Ready? I will love you without condition. I will love you without a million. Even when your friends are gone and left you one. I will love you when the pot is empty. I will love you when you're not so strong. I will love you even if you can't see right from wrong. Even though you broke my heart and I lay here Now, this one is from an album that was released already, but it's a real love song. A real one. Come here, come. Love you, baby. Love you, baby. Love you, baby. Love you, baby. All right. You ready? 'Cause when a man love a woman and a woman love a man, a judge blessing. Yeah, yeah. Like I love you, you love her. It's a blessing, yeah. And when a boy love a girl and a girl love a boy, a judge blessing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I love her and you love her. Look up to the sky, that's the sky. Oh, well, that is just sheer waste of time. Them so can break down love divine. I am yours and you are mine, forever till the end of time. A woman and a woman love a man and judge a place. Yeah, 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 like I love you love, it's a blessing. Yeah, when a boy love a girl and a girl love a boy and judge a place. Yeah, 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 like I love you. You love, it's a blessing. Yeah. Love you, baby. Love you. Love you, baby. Yeah. All right. Give me a mix. We come from far, but we still laughing in front of we. Loving you is like loving Daddy Almighty. I will love you, baby, until eternity. Eternity, just and loving you is like making love for the very first time. My heart racing, my blood pumping high. Just being love. When a man love a woman and a woman love a man and judge a place. Yeah, 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 like I love you love, it's a blessing. Yeah. When a boy love a girl and a girl love a boy and judge a place. Yeah, 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 like I love you love, it's a blessing. Yeah. Love you, baby. 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 Yeah. You ready, Cal? Yeah. Love you, baby. Yeah. Love you, baby. Love you, baby. Love you, baby. Yeah. Yeah. I want you there. I want you there. Woo. Now this one is called Wifey. And it's for the ladies who know they bad, whether they have the ring or not. Ready? Ring on my finger, baby, my sexy baby. So sweet, so kind, sexy, sweet chocolate. I'm glad you're mine. I wouldn't change this for anything or anyone in this world. My sacred love, I say I do over and over again. Give me the rhythm and me love up the bass, and me rub it up in a bad my people face. Me not stress, I'm a man, not three and every man. The way he's loving me, I could have never complain. Forever I will be giving him the best of. I'm proud of your wifey, wearing your last. I'm proud of your wearing your ring, so sweet, so kind, sexy, sweet chocolate. I'm glad you're mine. Watch it. Them woulda want see me with people, man. I walk and I hide and can't hold on. Second hand clothes and second hand man. I want this man. Me no inna that man. From a band me a princess. Always first, me no know second best. I was his choice 'cause he wanted a wife, a woman with whom he could share his life. His wifey, yeah, wearing your last. I'm proud of you. So sweet, so kind, sexy, sweet chocolate. I'm glad you're mine. I wouldn't change it for anything or anyone in this world. My sacred love, I'd say I do over and over again. My sexy baby, my baby. Ring from my finger, baby, my sexy baby. I'm anointed from the crown of my head to the sole of my feet, so I fear no one. I love you unconditionally no matter what you believe in, what you wear, what you eat, where you stay, where you live, where you sleep. I just love you as a person. And when I look at the world, wherever I go across the world, I want everyone in the world to look at me as a person. Unconditional love from my heart to all of you. One perfect love. Coming after my soul, wanting to take control. Wanna give me lots, wanna give me bling, wanna give me all the material things. I hear them talking about what the world has to offer. Girl, what you doing, don't you see what they have done to Bedouin and Marcos? Just us and all out of profit, yeah. But I'm not afraid. No, I'm not afraid. No, no, I'm not afraid. If them a come, let them come, 'cause I'm protected by the Most High. They don't mind when you fall behind and can't pay your bills on time. You're prostituting and standing in a them government. They don't mind when you waste your time coming up with some stupid rhyme, influencing the youth them to snort a line or take a life. They don't mind when you're locked up in jail, can't get no bail, sentence for life. Can't see the youth them strive. They don't mind. But I'm not afraid. No, I'm not afraid. No, no, I'm not afraid. If them a come, let them come. I'm protected by the Most High. Hey, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh no, hey, thinking they don't know your name. I see them coming after my soul, wanting to take control. Wanna give me lots, wanna give me bling, wanna give me all the material. I hear them talking about what the world has to offer. Girl, can't you see what they have done to Bedouin and Marcos? Just so sit down at the buffet. But I'm not afraid. No, I'm not afraid. No, no, I'm not afraid. If them a come, let them come. I'm protected by the Most High. Me never lost my way, never turn fool when I reach at the crossroad. Never lost my way. It's me. I'm not afraid of what I look like. I'm not afraid of where I live. I'm not afraid to tell you where I'm from. I'm not afraid of being me. I'm not afraid of being happy, or what they call so-called embarrassed. Doesn't bother me. 'Cause people's negative opinion of me is none of my business. I have no fear. Period. And so me. No, I'm not afraid. No, I'm not afraid. No, no, I'm not afraid. If them a come, let them come. I'm protected by the Most High. If them a come, let them come. I'm protected by the Most High. Most High. One thing.
So welcome.
Thank you.
How are you?
I'm grateful and happy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your album comes out in what, like less than 8 hours?
I know, right? I'm so excited. I just can't wait.
Well, we're thrilled to have you here. And I've got as many questions as you can sit through. So you just tell me. Just want to start off for people that may not be familiar with you. If you just want to tell them a little bit about yourself and your background and how you got into music.
Well, I'm from Kingston, Jamaica, in a small town called Augustown. And when you say Augustown, a lot of people go, ooh. you know, because it used to be a happy place. But I guess politics, turf wars, violence has turned it into some place that people shy away from. Um, I started reggae like probably 2005. I was a backup singer for a male artist called Richie Spice. And from then, I remember one day he got really ill, and they wanted to kind of like, you know, kill some of the time, the performance time. So they were like, "Go sing some songs," and I had to kind of come up with stuff to sing for 15 minutes. Well, that's all I could do is 15 minutes because I didn't have anything rehearsed or anything. So,
What'd you
but
sing?
I did Lauryn Hill songs. I did Rastaman chant. I hear the sounds of a Rastaman say, stuff like that. And ever since that day, it was, like a thing for me now. Like I had to go and open for him every night. And people kept asking who I was, and that's where it started.
Right on. And how old were you then?
Wow. Like
Not to call you out.
I was probably like 22,
All right.
21. Yeah.
And were you going by Etana then? So
No, it was just Shauna.
Okay.
I changed it later.
Yeah, tell people about the origin of your name, Etana.
Shauna means pretty. It's the given name,
Oh.
right? But I feel like women are beautiful all over the world, but we don't always remember how powerful we are. And so I said I wanted a name that would remind every woman when they see the name, they know, okay, that applies to me. I'm strong, I'm powerful, I can do this. And so I found the name Etana in Swahili. It means the strong one. And I said, okay, well, that's the name. So every time women, see the name Etana, no, it applies to all of you.
All right.
Yeah.
I like that. So when you were growing up in Jamaica, who were some of your biggest influences, the people that inspired you the most to get into music?
Wow, a lot of people. My mom used to listen to country music every Sunday.
Really?
Yes.
Like American country music?
Country music, country.
Like Billy Ray Cyrus country, or like?
Like Tammy Wynette country,
All
like
right.
Dolly Parton country.
Okay, yes.
And then as I grew up, I would listen to like Bob Marley, Sizzla Kalonji, even Air Supply I was like a big fan of Air Supply music all the way up till now. Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, and Stevie Wonder, a broad,
Yeah.
range of people. Of course, Bob Marley, Bob Marley, Bob Marley, Bob Marley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you moved to the U.S. with your family at a relatively young age, and you went to school to be a nurse.
Right.
So how did you transition from wanting to be a nurse to decide that you wanted to pursue singing as a career?
Well, I always used to love singing. I just never thought that I would be a singer,
Yeah.
And I remember being in psychology class, and I was so bored every day because it sounded like another language altogether, and I was bored.
Yeah.
And so I would write poetry in the class, and I was talking to a friend of mine who he lives on South Beach, and I said, you know what, I'm just so tired of, coming from school, going to work, doing the same thing, sending the fax, emails, turning the lights on and off. It's boring, And he said, well, you could sing. So, and there is a guy looking for a black girl to join a 4-girl group. So maybe I should do your makeup, take you down there, and, you do the audition. And I said, okay, well, I don't have anything to lose. And I went down there, and I got in on the same day, surprisingly.
Nice. So you were in this girl group for a little while, but
Like
it
about
wasn't
2 years.
It wasn't really your thing.
Well, I had fun with the girls. I like the shopping part.
Oh yeah.
And I love the fact that we lived in one house, that we had to do choreography together. But I hated the fact that we had to work out 7 days a week, eat nothing but seaweed and
Oof.
salmon or cereal and water, no juice, no cakes, no nothing,
No
you
jerk
know?
chicken.
No jerk chicken, forget that, you know? And the main thing was that I couldn't express myself the way I wanted to. Like, I couldn't write any song. You had to sing what was given, wear what was given. I'm talking about shoes and everything. You couldn't do your hair without them approving your look.
Very packaged. Like was
Yeah.
this like the boy
We
band?
had to just fit in,
like
all the
in
time.
sync Britney Spears era.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like lingerie, stiletto heel wearing.
Oh, and you didn't like that?
No, because I remember doing choreography one day, and the camera guy had the camera so low, like he had it in this angle, looking up at me, and I had on thongs, lingerie, see-through with stiletto heels, and I have to do this choreography where I have to turn to the side. You know,
A little grind.
I was like, no, okay, no, and
It's invasive.
very.
Yeah.
I said, you know what? Yeah, I look really good. You're beautiful. Like, this is just wicked. And it's, for some, it's like a chance of a lifetime. You don't just walk off, you know. And I decided after a while that it wasn't for me. And they cried and they cried and they screamed and we fought.
Well, that must have made you feel good though, that
No.
they valued that much that they were
Yeah.
gonna cry and scream and fight for you to be
well,
there.
yeah. I mean, yeah, but then I even thought that we could have, we write. We wanted to sing what we wanted to sing. We were never even given that chance,
Yeah.
you know, so.
Well, let's talk about happier times.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your fourth album, I Rise, which again comes out in less than a day. Where did you write and record that, and what was the inspiration for this album as opposed to some of your older albums, and what was that like for you?
Well, the album was recorded in Jamaica with like one of the top producers, if not the
Oh, don't sell
top
yourself
producer.
short. Don't sell yourself short.
if not the top producer in Jamaica
Yeah.
right now. He's been around for years, did songs with some of the best rock stars that you may know, and reggae too as well. Clive Hunt is a genius, and if you've ever watched the Mad Scientist movie and see how they act, that's just Clive.
Yeah.
But he's smart, you know, and I wanted the music to sound live. I wanted it to be big. I wanted everything about this album to be massive.
Yeah. So was this at? I know you recorded your previous album at the Tough Gong Studios in Jamaica. Was this at the same?
No, we did this album in Clive Hunt's place,
Okay.
and at a small studio called Barbed Wire Music Studio. He's a young producer too as well, of a band called C Shop in Jamaica.
Okay.
But very gifted, seriously gifted.
Yeah. Right on. So for the people that aren't necessarily familiar with Tough Gong, it was started by the Wailers back in the 1960s, and
Right.
it produced a lot of really well-known songs like Redemption Song,
Yeah.
Stir It Up.
All of the Bob Marley songs.
All the good
all
ones.
of them.
Yeah. So what was it like recording and working in that space? Did you?
I remember the first time when I had to sing in that studio. And there's a guy in the studio, a man, older Chinese man. I forgot his name. But he never comes out the studio. He would be the one that would always take care of Bob Marley, take care of the instruments in the studio. He flew from China from Japan, I'm sorry. Flew from Japan to be where Bob Marley was. And up to this day, he's still there.
Lives there?
He lives in the studio.
Wow.
He never comes out. And that day when I was singing, he came out, and everybody was like, You know?
You
Like,
unearthed him.
You're out. Oh my God, you know? And everybody was like, he's out. He's out the room. He's out the room. But it was very, very warm to see him come out and help the musicians to make sure, just like he did for Bob Marley, to make sure that the instruments and everything was sounding great.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And you recently came off of the Jam Rock Cruise.
The Jamrock Cruise.
Jamrock Cruise, yeah.
That was amazing.
Which is headed by Damian Marley.
Right.
So what was your experience with the Marleys before then, and how was that cruise, and what did they try to? Did they have any advice for you in terms of trying to break through in America with reggae?
No, we never spoke like that. I think every time that we met, we were either rehearsing or recording. You know, because I did some recording sessions with Stephen Marley, and Junior Gong. He was always serious. I see him so king-like, you know, always very serious. But the idea of the cruise was amazing because the cruise sold out in 3 weeks. Like, they put it up and it was down in a month. And I think they're going to have to get a bigger ship.
A bigger boat?
They're going to have to get a bigger one next year. And they're probably going to have 2. Because even then, people were on Facebook saying, does anybody have any tickets? Did anybody have any tickets? Because it was completely sold out.
That's incredible.
It's amazing. And one of the things that I admired the most is that when you go to a festival, right, there's this big barrier, and there are thousands of people way back there behind the barrier, though. On the cruise, everyone is like right there. And you take the shuttle, and people are in the bus saying, can we take a picture? Because we're sharing the shuttle with the people on the ship. We walk around on the ship. We eat next to our fans. You know, it's cool. Really cool.
Very nice. So why do you think that reggae hasn't really caught on in the U.S. the same way that it is in other parts of the world? Because, I mean, obviously when Bob Marley was around, it eventually came to the U.S. after it was, you know, had exposure in Europe. But since then, there really hasn't been much of a, I guess, popular reggae culture in the U.S. So why do you think that's kind of died down and made it more difficult for reggae to be a more prominent genre over here?
Well, for some reason, I think that reggae is being shut off mainstream radio. Well, it has been shut off mainstream radio, period. But there's this movement that's, well, for the past, I don't know, 3-4 years, that you have American bands who have sold out venues across the U.S. I think they have it so locked down now that they're actually moving from the U.S. to Europe. So they're taking the reggae from here to Europe. Usually it's Europe to America, right?
Yeah.
But the only thing is that those bands are not, most of them, they're straight Americans and not Jamaican bands.
The blue-eyed reggae.
Yeah. So I think, but it's not for everybody. Like, okay, what I mean by that is, if you tour a lot in the U.S., you will see the same people who support the American bands come out to support your show, because I've seen it. And they come out in the numbers. But you have to tour for them to see you because you're not on mainstream radio. Yeah. So they don't know. Right? And it may be difficult for Jamaican bands to tour because of visa, finances, or whatever it is. But nobody said it should be easy. Yeah. So when I do it, I go hard.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So I was speaking with your drummer earlier before the show, and we were talking about the differences between reggae music in Jamaica and what's successful here in the U.S. And with reggae, it's very much so about the message and you know, commenting on the culture and politics, and it's more of like a call to action than it is in the U.S., where it's a lot more materialistic. It's a little bit more vain. It's a little bit more vapid.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting that he said as well that in Jamaica now with reggae artists, it feels like those American ideals in music have kind of been imposed upon the music in reggae.
Yeah.
So that a lot of artists are having to kind of stray from the roots of the reggae message and incorporate these U.S. ideals into their songs in order to try to be successful. So how do you, well, first of all, have you found it difficult to stay true to your core values?
No.
No. All right.
Because, no, but you know what? I feel that if you're true and real to yourself, then people will see that and they'll gravitate to your realness, you know? But I think if you try to put on, that's when people are like, yeah, whatever. We've seen this before.
Yeah.
I just feel like I'm being myself and it's working for me, and I don't know how to be anything else.
Yeah, that's good. That's wonderful. So in that same vein, in terms of reggae and Jamaican music in general, kind of drawing attention to different issues, political, social, cultural, what do you think is the issue in Jamaica right now that really deserves the most attention?
Education and education. That's it. I think it deserved the most attention because people tend to overlook the little ones. Oh, they don't matter. They don't have a voice. They can't speak. You know, they do what we say do, kind of thing. Because Caribbean parents are like that. You do what I say. Shut up, kind of thing. You know. But I think that it's time that we listen and invest a lot more in education in Jamaica. A lot of Caribbean countries, they have free education because they're still under the British rule or the French. You know. But Jamaica somewhat is still, but not when it comes to free education. So you have a lot of children who stay home because of poverty, you know, and I think it doesn't do much for the economy. It doesn't do much for the whole country itself. It's just, it's wrong to have them kids sit there, not know how to read and write and grow up doing things that society don't accept, or even, you know, put other people in fear because they're trying to survive the best way they know how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've been in the U.S., so you live in Florida now?
Yeah.
How long have you been in the U.S. for?
Well, like about 3 years now.
3 years?
Yeah.
So is there something in particular in the U.S. that you kind of think is an issue that people are ignoring, musicians are ignoring, that they could speak out against in the same way that reggae artists do? I know that's a tough kind of like...
Well, if you look at hip-hop, you know, it's kind of like they rap about what they see, right? I don't think there's much that they can do to change that. It just is what it is. When you... I'm not sure that they could do anything about it, really. Because if they stop rapping about, you know, the BITCH and if the girls stop showing themselves in the video,
Money
do you think
and
that they'll
cars.
stay? Yeah. Do you think that people would still pay attention?
Well, you know, we were talking about this earlier about how someone like Jay-Z could be that person. I mean, this is putting...
To make the change.
To make the change, you know, someone that's that big in American culture to try to step up and make that change and really call attention to things that people aren't seeing or doing.
Well,
or
maybe.
maybe
Because I've
it's tough.
seen people like Common and Mos Def.
Yeah.
And they're not into that stuff, but they're not as popular as the person who may do
Exactly.
the opposite, you know.
It's
So-
tough. It's a lot of, you have to make choices, and whether or not you want to be you and speak to the things that you value, or if you're, you know, okay with letting some of that go in order to achieve a different kind of fame. So.
Well, how I say it is that I wonder when they do these things, rap about these things, or, you know, behave a certain way in the media, how do they expect, or how, I'm wondering if their children, like if they have kids, if they get to watch their mom or dad do that on TV,
Yeah.
and then how do they, you know, raise them in the right way to say, okay, well, we're just doing that for show. Like,
Yeah.
it's not real. We don't really do that. You know, I'm wondering how they deal with it.
How they like instill values in them that are
That are right and
that are
true,
right. Yeah. So sticking with the reggae theme and the difference between things in the U.S. and there, I mean, you're arguably like one of the most notable female reggae artists,
Thank you.
today and for a long time now. The most
Thank
visible,
you.
prominent, lovely reggae artist.
Thank you.
Was it difficult for you to find your footing in a genre that's predominantly male?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, like you would sometimes. There was a time when females were on the bill for the show, and they would show up, and they kind of shove them off, and oh, it's not your time yet, And then when they call them on, like sometimes a male will come on the stage and say, "Yeah, my time now," and grab the mic and start singing. So they didn't get like a fair chance to perform.
Yeah.
So what we did at Fifth Element at the time is they had a man walk me up on stage. A man would block the stage on both ends. Nobody was able to walk up on my stage ever. And they would have a man walk me off stage, walk my guitar on, walk my guitar off, kind of teach them how to treat me.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I taught them how to treat me. And so I feel like we still have a long way to go because women in general, all over the world, sometimes we're not looked upon as the same or equal to a man. So we're at times paid less, given awkward jobs and stuff like that, even though we're overqualified sometimes to do what the man might do, And it's the same thing with reggae.
Yeah.
And so I think we still have a long way to go. But as far as respect and billing me as a headliner and stuff like that, I don't have any issues.
Yeah. Well, I think we can all appreciate that. I mean, the image that you're putting forth, even just in the name that you chose and the song Strong Jamaican Woman from your new album, it's really encouraging to hear that kind of stuff. And
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot of female artists out there who speak about being a woman, but I feel like you're one of the more honest and heartfelt artists out there that are doing that. So I think it's wonderful.
Thank you.
Do you consider yourself a role model? Is that important to you?
Well, I just live my life the best way I know I can, and I like to sleep well when I do go to sleep.
Yeah.
So I try my best to do good wherever I go and live my life in such a way that I create better tomorrows.
Yeah.
I
feel like that's a very intimidating title for a lot of female musicians, and more so female than male, to be seen as a role model because it puts a lot of pressure on you in terms of if you make a misstep and
yeah, at times like if something goes wrong and you feel like yelling or cussing,
yeah,
uh-huh. Like I kind of have to hold it, go inside somewhere where there's just me and my manager or somebody, and then scream,
Yeah.
Because then if I do, then other people would look at me like, Etana said that,
Yeah.
It's
hard to have a filter.
Yeah, so I don't display it that much, but and I don't put myself in positions where I know, and if something arises, I deal with it with as much diplomacy as possible.
Yeah. So how do you stay calm? How do you stay positive?
I just stay laughing.
Yeah?
I just laugh at everything.
You got a lot of good jokes?
I just laugh at everything. Seriously, I'm always laughing.
Well, I need to hang out more often then, so that I can do that too.
Yeah.
Okay, switching gears just a little bit here, getting towards the end. I wanted to ask you about your line of jewelry and your skirts and your organic soaps.
Yeah.
Are you wearing any of your line right now?
Well, let me see. No.
What? How could you come here without wearing your own jewelry?
You know what? I had them on for the past 3 shows that we did. And for some reason today, I don't know why. But people are always asking me, where did you get that skirt? Where did you get that earring? Where did you get, that bracelet? And I figured, and on Facebook, people will say, okay, don't tell me where you got the skirt. Tell me where you got the fabric. Yeah. Or tell me who made it so I can have them make it, Yeah. So I decided I'm just going to make these stuff and have them available for people who want to purchase these. But I have young girls who may find it hard to find jobs in Jamaica, right? Seamstresses, very talented. And, I use the skirt line as a job opportunity for them. So it's like women helping women. So they make the skirts and women outside buy the skirts.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
I like that you keep it at home like that. That's very, very admirable.
Thank you.
Yeah. But next time, bring some of those things
the
here.
Jewelry
so
too. The soaps too. Same thing, like the girls make the jewelry. Sometimes I do the jewelry when I do have my free time because I love to paint. And so I have hand-painted jewelry. My husband too. Like we all get involved, Yeah. It's a family thing. It's love and sharing and caring in everything.
And you have 2 young children, so they help out with that as well?
Well, too young.
Are they young? They're not old.
No, they're not old, but my daughter is only 2.
Yeah.
And my son is 13. He doesn't care about that
finger
stuff.
painting. She can finger paint.
He's
right?
he's not into that stuff. He's just like, Mom, just tell me how to do this business stuff and I'll try to help you out, but I'm not going to paint.
I'll keep the books.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. So just to wrap it up, I just have a couple of fun questions. So I work for Songza within Google, which I mentioned to you when we spoke earlier, but we are music streaming. We do a lot of curated playlists, and so we have some fun questions that we like to ask artists.
Okay.
I've tried to pare them down to the less risque ones. So I just have a couple here. So what was the first tape, CD, or vinyl that you bought and why?
I still remember that.
Mine was Paula Abdul, Forever Your Girl, if that makes you feel better.
No, I think it was instrumental, like all instrumental, like jazz. I forgot the name of the artist. He blows the flute. I forgot the name of the artist, but that was the first CD that I actually bought for myself.
You're buying instrumentals, the first CD?
Yeah. Isn't that weird?
That's, yeah, you were clearly more mature than I was when I was buying music. What was the first concert that you went to?
There's a concert with Capleton and Sizzla, Kalanji. I actually snuck into that club too.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I put on a lot of makeup. I made my lips really red. And I remember wearing this wig that was really long down here.
And you pulled it off?
And I pulled it off.
All right.
I was so happy when I got in. Yeah, it was cool.
And was that in Jamaica or was that
no,
in the
that
US?
was in Miami.
Oh, okay. Oh, those clubs are hard to get into when you're young.
I pulled it off. I pulled it off.
I appreciate
I lied so hard.
Show a little leg. It's fine.
My clothes were so short. I remember I had on this really short skirt, looking really cute. So I know, but I tried to look as old as possible. Mm-hmm. They know. I think he must have figured it out because I was so skinny.
Right on. So when you were a teenager, assuming you were as angsty as most teenagers are growing up,
yeah.
What song or what album would you play to piss off your parents?
Lady Saw. I would put in a Lady Saw CD or something like that. Like, if the man live and my mom would be like, turn it off, no, turn it off.
Mine was Lil' Kim, so I got a little dirtier. But that's
Oh
great.
no, trust me, if you listen to that song, the raw version, your mom would tell you to turn it off too.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
We have to send me that. I still like to piss off my parents, so.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. So obviously you did some covers during your set, which I loved. You did Is This Love? You did the Dawn Penn song.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
I love doing that song.
Do you have any other songs that you really enjoy covering when you're live? Like, what's your favorite? Or were those your
Stepping
favorites?
out of Babylon one by one, stepping in Mount Zion. When I did that song and I listened back to it, I said, oh my God.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm actually happy that I asked Marcia Griffiths about doing that song over. And she said, Etana, if them ask you to do 10, do 10. You know, she was like, do it.
Yeah.
You know, but I was a little bit nervous because that's Marcia Griffiths. That's like the queen of reggae. When you hear her songs play all over the world, you know, people kind of lose it. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, am I going to make this good enough, you know, for everybody out there? And when I heard it back and heard all the comments, I figured, okay, I got it.
I'm sure you did it justice.
Yeah, it was wicked. Yeah.
All right, last one, and then we'll see if anybody else has any questions for you. What's your guilty pleasure song? Like, what do you sing to yourself in the mirror, like dancing in your underwear?
Let me see. I have a couple.
Give them all to us.
There's a song called Refill. Can I get a refill? I'm not good with names at all. Yeah, L. I love.
There you go, Kenny.
Yeah, Refill. I love L. You know, and there's another one that she did called I Said I Only Wanna Give It to You. Yeah, that song is wicked. And so,
right.
you know.
Do the reggae rock.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, does anyone else have any questions for the lovely Etana? I can't see anything out there, but if you do, stand up, wave your hand around, hoot and holler. No?
Shy.
It's shy. They're too shy. All right. Well, thank you so much, Etana. This
Thank
was
you.
wonderful.
And thanks to everyone for being here.
And go
Thank
out
you.
and buy the album. It's out tonight.
I Rise.
I Rise. Go get it.
I can't wait to have it on my iPhone.
Yeah. You mean your droid, because we're at Google.
Oh, yeah, that's right. My droid.
Droid.
Well, you know what? That would be my husband then. Because he doesn't like iPhone at all.
That's good. We appreciate that. All right, lady. Thank you again so much.
Thanks to everyone.
All right.
Yes.